2 years ago, something happened to me that forced me to reconsider everything I thought I knew about home security. I'm telling this story because it's something that cannot be ignored. Listen carefully. We moved into the cheapest house in the neighborhood. 3 months later, I realized why. It was an old building with a steep roof and tiny windows that barely let in any sunlight. The doors and floors were in terrible condition. Every night the doors creaked from the drafts blowing through the house. The floors creaked and groaned as if someone were constantly walking on them. Sometimes, especially at night, it felt like we weren't alone in the house. But my wife liked it anyway. She saw some kind of special character in it. All I saw were endless repairs, dampness, and a chaotic layout. The house had an attic. The entrance was right in the ceiling of our bedroom, just an old wooden hatch with a folding metal ladder. Before selling the house, the previous owner had casually mentioned that it was empty. The hatch looked old and stuck, so I kept putting off checking it out. For 3 months, I never once looked inside, until last Tuesday. That night, a thunderstorm was raging outside, and it was pouring rain. I woke up around 2 in the morning. I was awakened by a distinct, heavy scraping sound on wood that echoed through our bedroom. At first, I didn't think much of it. I was used to the old house making all sorts of noises. But this one was different. Too slow, too precise. Lying in the dark, I froze and listened. A few seconds later, the sound came again. And then I realized it was coming directly from the attic. I woke my wife. We lay in complete darkness, listening to something moving slowly above us. "It's probably raccoons," she whispered. But it was clear from her voice that she didn't believe it herself. The sound suddenly stopped. There was such complete silence that I could hear my own heartbeat. I knew I couldn't wait until morning. I got up quietly, trying not to make the bed creak. I picked up the heavy metal lantern from the nightstand, walked over to the hatch, and pulled the rope. The metal ladder unfolded with a dull thud in the middle of the bedroom, and at that moment, everything upstairs fell completely silent. I hesitated for a few seconds, but I had no choice. I started climbing up. The air in the attic was musty and thick with dust. The beam of my flashlight illuminated the wooden beams and piles of old junk in the darkness. At first, I didn't see anything. Then, in the far corner, I spotted a folding bed. It was neatly made with clean sheets. Next to it, on a box, stood a plate with leftover food. The very same food we had cooked yesterday. My hands went cold. I slowly moved the beam of light further along. The wall was covered with newspaper clippings and our photos. These weren't pictures from social media, they were taken inside the house. My wife in the kitchen, me in the shower, the two of us sleeping in our bed, taken straight from above. Through the skylight, I looked at the floor. In the attic floor right above our bed, a narrow slit had been neatly cut out. The board was slightly shifted, and I understood the sound that woke me up. They were shifting that board. Someone was lying here in the dark, watching us every night. Just then I heard breathing behind me, slow, calm. I turned around slowly. The beam of my flashlight fell on a pile of boxes. A pair of dirty shoes was sticking out from under them. "Get out of here," I shouted, trying to make my voice sound firm. Nothing happened for a few seconds. Then a man emerged from behind the boxes. He was unnaturally thin, with pale skin. He was wearing my old gray hoodie, the very one I thought I'd lost during the move. He looked at me calmly. "I was being quiet," he said. "I didn't bother you." He said it as if he were genuinely proud of himself. I didn't answer. I just jumped down, grabbed the ladder, and quickly shoved it back up into the ceiling. The hatch closed with a dull click. My wife and I ran out of the house in our pajamas into the pouring rain, jumped into the car, and drove to the police station. The patrol arrived about 20 minutes later. When the police searched the house, the attic was empty. The roof window was open. He must have heard the sirens and escaped. But they found something else, an old key to our front door. The previous owner said he'd lost it over a year ago. Later, police identified him. He was a former tenant who had been reported missing years ago. He never left, he just moved into the attic. Among his belongings, they found a diary. The last entry was written after we fled, but before the patrol arrived. Just 4 words, "I'm still watching." We sold the house a week later for practically nothing. Now we live in a modern apartment on the 12th floor with a reliable security system. But sometimes, in the dead silence of the night, I wake up with the feeling that someone is watching me again, right above me,